at the Dal Lake, getting photographed at the Bollywood. Now that's a major message to the world on Naya Kashmir. That's the message that peace is slowly returning to the strife-torn valley in Jammu and in Kashmir. But what went into this? 3 decades plus of combating Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. The images on your television screen. 14 September 1989, Tikka Lal Taplu was shot dead in cold blood in the Kashmir Valley. 4th November 1989, emboldened terrorists then shot dead Justice Neelkant Ganju near the High Court in Srinagar because he'd sentenced a terrorist to death. Now the terrorists kept getting emboldened because the state was apparently paralyzed, didn't know how to deal with this. And then on the 8th of December 1989, remember these months, 8th of December 1989, you had Rubaiya Saeed. Rubaiya Saeed was the daughter of then Home Minister of India, Mufti Mohammad Saeed. She was kidnapped in Srinagar. Imagine the Home Minister of India, his daughter was kidnapped in Srinagar, and terrorists, hardcore terrorists, were released to secure her release. Now this was when radical Islamist terror raised its ugly head in Jammu and Kashmir in a big way. This was a hydra-headed monster. Radical Islamist terrorists had now tasted blood. Beyond this, mosque loudspeakers were now being used in Kashmir. This is 1989 and 1990 to rant, Raliv Galiv ya Saliv, convert, leave or die and leave your women behind. This was what being said from mosque loudspeakers to Hindus in Kashmir who had lived there since the beginning of time, but they were asked to leave. Then on the 19th of January 1990, there was mass exodus of Hindus from Kashmir. Now you will ask, why are we talking about these dates today? I also want to talk about another important date. 6 days later, 6 days after 19th of January 1990, on the 25th of January 1990, 4 Indian Air Force officers were killed in cold blood in Srinagar. And terrorist Yasin Malik is an accused in that case. This was the beginning of radical Islamist terror in Jammu and Kashmir. 30 years of relentlessly fighting radical Islamist terror in Jammu and Kashmir, often with some within sleeping with the enemy, had actually brought our countries. Now it's brought our country to a situation, and I once again want to show you the Miss World pageant, that Miss World pageant at the Dal Lake in Srinagar. Now Kashmir is safe not only to hold a G20 tourism meet, but also have the Miss World pageant in Srinagar. The question we are asking here on India First, what role did the defanging of Article 370 play? And what next? Is that fear that stone pelters could return? Is that fear real, or is stone pelting now a thing of the past? That Pakistan-backed terrorists, could they return? Or when action was taken against the Hurriyat Conference and Jamaat-e-Islami, has that actually weakened Pakistan's stranglehold, at least in a section in the Kashmir Valley? Joining me on India First is Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon, former Kashmir Corps Commander. He was at the helm of affairs. He was the Kashmir Corps Commander when that Pulwama terror attack took place, when Balakot airstrikes took place, and when Article 370 was defanged. We will speak to General Dhillon, but first I want to bring you this ground report of Naya Kashmir.
Probably the most glamorous slap in the face of Kashmir's hypocrite brigade. Those who continue to lament the abrogation of Article 370 and Kashmir's journey to normalcy, peace and prosperity. Say hello to Miss World Karolina Bielawska. The beauty pageant winner spent all of Monday in Kashmir. Accompanied by Miss India World Sini Shetty, Karolina enjoyed a traditional Kashmiri meal and did what all tourists love most about Srinagar, a shikara ride in the beautiful Dal Lake.
But what we've seen today was really blowing our minds. The beautiful lake, we took a ride on the boats, we see the colorful garden, and everyone welcomed us so nicely, so warmly, that I cannot wait to welcome 140 nations and all my friends and family, to bring them here to India and to show places like Kashmir.
Images of a beauty pageant winner enjoying her day in Kashmir explode with meaning. Jammu and Kashmir, one of the most beautiful places in the world, used to be a tourist hotspot for decades. Following the abrogation of Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir has seen an incredible surge in tourism, beating all previous records and setting Kashmir on a path of peace and profits for its people. And now, even though legacy netas continue to decry their loss of a narrative, leave it to Miss World to expose the frustrated old Kashmir Brigade, whose presence in Srinagar has sent out a message to the whole world that Kashmir is peaceful and open for business. Let's see how Mehbooba Mufti and her generation of politicians spin this one. Bureau Report, India Today.
During the course of this broadcast, we will also get you images of what's happening in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the protests that are taking place in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including in Gilgit and Baltistan. But we'll come to that in just a moment. I want to bring Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon into this conversation. General, what's the message to the world with G20 tourism meet in Srinagar and now with the Miss World pageant at the Dal Lake? A place where at one point of time in the early 1990s, and you were posted there, I believe, as a young officer that time, when you had terrorists on the boulevard, terrorists who were actually calling the shots in the heart of Srinagar at one point of time, sir.
Good evening, Gaurav, and good evening to all your viewers. Yes, you are right. In 88, 89, 90, when I was a young captain in North Kashmir, the dates which you mentioned, all the incidents of Justice Ganju's killing, Mr. Lassa Kaul's killing, Robia Said's kidnapping, killing of 4 Air Force officers, all those things were the thing of terror in the air. There were villages in the bordering areas of Kupwara and Bandipora where I was posted, where almost half the young population had taken off and gone to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir for terrorist activities. There were weapons being smuggled into Kashmir and the killings were happening, threats were happening. The basic feeling of animosity against Indians was visible in the normal life. आप हिंदुस्तान से आए हो, आपके हिंदुस्तान में ये होता है. These were the phrases or the language being spoken to even a person like me in uniform. You can imagine the person who is without uniform or without weapon, what must be the feeling of terror in his mind. The killings were happening, the targeted killings were happening, innocent civilians were being killed on the pretext of being the informers. Now from there to here what we are today, where we are today is a peace. And this peace has come at a cost of human lives of Kashmiris, innocent Kashmiris, Kashmiri uniformed people from security forces and Indian soldiers. This has come at a very heavy cost. Notwithstanding, the nation has paid the price, but the peace has returned to the Jannat that Kashmir is and will always be.
You talk about Jannat, but to reach that Jannat, was it the bombing of Balakot after Pulwama? But what role did that play? What role did the defanging of Article 370 play? And has that terror enabling ecosystem in the valley, has that been defanged even now, sir?
See, for the benefit of the viewers, I must amplify the term ecosystem, which was sponsoring terror and which was benefiting from terror. This ecosystem was very happy that terror continues in Kashmir because they were getting their fundings, they were getting their political mileage, and they were getting all the benefits of goodies which terrorism had to provide them at the cost of common Kashmiri lives, common Kashmiri youth dying. So this ecosystem had Pakistan Army, ISI, the Pakistan government, the Jamaat-e-Islami, the Hurriyat, the terrorists, certain political parties in the Kashmir Valley, certain NGOs, certain opinion makers who were in the garb of being intellectuals were spitting venom, and I dare say certain journalists and the vernacular press. They all were benefiting from this ecosystem, and they were sponsoring and proliferating this terror fake narratives. And they were keeping the 99% of silent majority terrified because of what was happening in Kashmir.
General,
The innocent Kashmiri was terrified.
Stay with me for a
They
moment.
have been defanged, the word as you used, on 5th of August 2019. But before that, the Balakot airstrikes sent a very strong message to Pakistan that this much and nothing more. And you will get a befitting reply, dare you do anything.
Okay.
So these are very important timelines in the history of Kashmir, which the generations to come will read about and feel proud about.
Okay, so the bombing of Balakot, that was a game changer. The defanging of Article 370. And I want our viewers to once again listen in to the Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Parliament on Article 370.
जिस दिन भारत के राष्ट्रपति द्वारा इस घोषणा पर हस्ताक्षर किए जाएंगे और इसे सरकारी गैजेट में प्रकाशित किया जाएगा, उस दिन से अनुच्छेद 370 के सभी खंड लागू नहीं होंगे, सिवाय खंड 1 के नामक तदनुसार पढ़ा जाएगा.
What role, in your view, General, did the defanging of Article 370 play? Did it bring about any change in the Kashmir Valley in Jammu and Kashmir from 2019 now to 2023, sir?
See, the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, a major psychological role, in addition to, of course, the physical and the economic and political role it played. I'll talk about it a little later. The psychological role which it played was every Kashmiri, or at least the supporters of Hurriyat and terrorism, were feeling that Pakistan will support their cause and will probably get them independence. When a step as big as Article 370 abrogation happened, bluff of Pakistan was called. And once the bluff of Pakistan was called, a common Kashmiri realized that Pakistan is not their friend and Pakistan is not going to support them. And most importantly, Pakistan does not have the military, economic, political, and diplomatic might to stand the might of India or withstand the might of India. So Pakistan's bluff was called, and that is when a normal Kashmiri realized my interest lies in development, economic progress, and job creation, which Article 370 abrogation would bring in.
Okay.
So that psychological feeling that Pakistan is not a friend and Pakistan does not have the power to withstand Indian might was a big lesson which came home.
Very big point you're making.
The political will.
Very big point you're making there, General. So you're saying not only was Article 370 defanged, Pakistan, to a very large extent, has been defanged. And at this point, I want to listen in once again to the Miss World in Srinagar. Now, when she talks about the beauty of Kashmir, what message will that send? She comes from a very beautiful country herself, from Poland. And when she talks about the mesmerizing beauty of Kashmir, listen in.
So you have been Kashmir yesterday. How's your trip? Tell me about that.
Oh, wonderful. Every time we come here, we discover something new, and Kashmir it's a gem, really. It's so beautiful. We had lots of fun, didn't we? We went on our boat rides, we've visited the gardens. It's so colorful, beautiful. People are welcoming. Seriously, I believe that this is the place for the world to see.
भारत में हम बोलते हैं Kashmir is heaven. Do you find it heaven?
Yes, and I think the 140 nations that will come here and showcase it to the rest of the world will also find it as heaven. It's such a beautiful place to see.
So, Jessica, we say like Kashmir Ki Kali, it's a movie based on Kashmir. So, what do you find very beautiful in Kashmir? What do you find very attractive in Kashmir?
The whole of the landscape is just absolutely incredible, and we were also blessed yesterday to go onto the lake, and that was just an incredible experience on its own. The absolute nature, everything about it is amazing. And also I've learnt that there's snow leopards in the area, which is absolutely incredible. Like, I had no idea, so I would love to go back and hopefully see some of the wildlife.
Will you
as well.
consider your friends and family to go on a holiday there?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. As soon as I get back to England, I'll be telling everybody to visit Kashmir. It was stunning.
General Dhillon, when the most beautiful women in the world find Kashmir mesmerizingly beautiful and they hope to return to Kashmir. Sir, for tourism in Jammu and Kashmir, for the people in Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of our country, and of course to that terrorist nation across the border, is that a signal?
Of course, it's a very big signal. And not only this, all the events leading up to today, probably starting on 5th of August 2019, the peace returning is a big signal, and it is a signal not only to the terrorist nation across, is also a signal to some enemies within, that India will not now go back to the black days of terrorism in Kashmir. Kashmir will not go back to the black days of terrorism when young boys were getting killed and all those people who are the sponsors of the ecosystem, their children were studying abroad in very cozy colleges, probably on the sponsorship by the neighboring country. So a local Kashmiri understood their game and they called their bluff. So this peace which has come in is a work in progress, and in future, more and more development, infrastructure development, economic development, job creation, investments will happen in Kashmir. And Kashmir, the Jannat and the heaven, as the report said, is going to be, I think, a bigger dream for everyone to come and visit. And I also, through a channel, would request everyone who's watching this program, please visit Kashmir. I have spent my entire life there. It's a heaven on earth.
It truly is mesmerizingly beautiful, and not just, Srinagar or Gulmarg or Pahalgam, but, even Kangan, Vusan, Gurez, other parts of North Kashmir where tourists are perhaps only now going in a bigger way, and more homestays and hotels will hopefully come there for the virgin landscape and beauty of Kashmir. But sir, is there an apprehension? Pakistan controls the terror tap. Pakistan will once again, the moment it's financially a little more stable, it will once again start sending in radical Islamist terrorists, and once again, God forbid, mosque loudspeakers could be used in Kashmir to spew venom, and this time against tourists and other Hindus who may want to go there. Is it also true that at the height of terrorism, religious places in Kashmir were used to torture Indian Army officers in Kashmir, including the worst possible torture, sir?
See, the fear of terror returning, in my opinion, the economics or the economy or the economic development will drive the peace in Kashmir. Because a common Kashmiri, his earnings have gone up, the tourists are going up, the number of tourists who are coming in, the earnings have gone up, the religious tourism has improved, and as you said, certain new areas have opened up for tourism. Places like you talked about Kangan, you talked about Machal, you talked about Gurez, Vusan. I will tell you places like Kiran. Kiran is where Kishan Ganga river flows. The other side is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. This side is a very small hamlet called Kiran, nestled in the thick of Shamshabari. They are the new places, Yashmad. They are new places which have opened up for tourists, and they are mesmerizing. The hospitality, the typical Kashmiri hospitality is at its peak. The Airbnb type of, bed and breakfast type of things are existing. Their tentage accommodation, it's a heaven. You've got to be going to these places to enjoy these places.
So from heaven for a moment, I want to take our viewers to hell. I want to take our viewers to Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and we are not calling it hell. The people there are calling it hell. That's right, the people in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, in Gilgit and in Skardu, some of them say they want to come back and they want those traditional routes to Kargil to be reopened. They're abusing the Pakistan army. They're abusing the exploitation of Gilgit and Skardu, this entire Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, by the Pakistan army. Listen in.
याद रखो, अगर रास्ते में कोई गलत वाकया हो गया तो मौला अली को ज़रब लगी, तुम्हारे पैरोकारों ने मारी, लेकिन मौला ने जिन जिन को ज़रब मारी ये भी याद रखो, हम उसके पैरोकार हैं। तुम्हारी तरफ से एक ज़रब आई तो 2 ज़रब हमारी तरफ से भी आई। कोई अमन शमन नहीं, अमन उस टाइम कायम होगा जब हमारी जिंदगियां महफूज होंगी। जिधर हमारी जिंदगी महफूज नहीं है तो दूसरे की भी नहीं होगी। तो आप तमाम से मेरी गुजारिश है, ये जेलगढ़ चौक उस टाइम तक नहीं खुलेगा जिन सरकारी दलाल।
I once again want to bring in General Dhillon into this conversation. General, in Gilgit, in Baltistan, you heard these protesters in Skardu, and there are thousands and thousands who have now taken to the streets. They don't have electricity, they don't have power, they don't have rights. Their land is being taken away to be given to China. They say we want traditional routes back to Kargil. We've seen the development that's taking place in India.
Absolutely. In addition to all the things, the stepmotherly treatment which is being given to the residents of Gilgit and Baltistan, the Shias being suppressed by the powerful Sunni lobby of Pakistan, Punjabi, Pakistani, Sunni Musliman doing all types of atrocities on Gilgit and Baltistani people, especially the Shias. They are forcible trying to unite them with the country of Pakistan, whereas their culture, their language, everything is different. So they naturally want to align along with the traditional routes towards Kargil and Ladakh.
I also want our viewers to see the reality of Pakistan. You've seen the reality of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Please see the reality of Pakistan. You know, India's touchdown on the south pole of the moon. Pakistan is on the verge of bankruptcy. There is no electricity. There is no gas. People are crying. They're protesting on the streets over increased electricity rates. And they are saying they are being looted not by the IMF, but by their army and their leadership. We bring you this ground report from Pakistan.
India is on the moon. And Pakistan is plummeting into chaos.
आटा आसमान पर, चीनी के रेट आसमान पर, चावल के दाम आसमान पर, दाल की कीमतें आसमान पर, सब्जी की कीमतें आसमान पर, फल के दाम आसमान पर, बीफ और मटन की कीमतें आसमान पर, मुर्गी का गोश्त आसमान पर, दूध के रेट आसमान पर, चाय की पत्ती की कीमत भी आसमान पर, दवाओं की कीमतें भी आसमान पर, अस्पतालों के अखराजात भी आसमान पर, स्कूल्स की फीस आसमान पर, मुल्की कर्जे आसमान पर, हुकूमती अखराजात आसमान पर, हुक्मरानों की अय्याशियां आसमान पर, हमारी तो हिस्से मिज़ा भी आसमान पर है। इसीलिए तो सोशल मीडिया पर सारिफीन अब ये कह रहे हैं कि भारत चांद पर पहुंच गया तो क्या हो गया।
Helpless, hapless and reeling under the burden of soaring prices, Pakistani citizens have now hit streets. This banner at a protest compared India's successful moon mission with Pakistan's failing economy.
खाने के लिए दो वक्त की रोटी नहीं है, अवाम परेशान है। अब ख़वातीन को देखिए जेवरात बेच रही हैं, कर्जा लिया जा रहा है, सूद पे पैसे लिए जा रहे हैं, क्या करना है, पिछले बिल अदा करना है।
Lahore's popular jewellery market, the Latif Centre, is deserted. The few people who do come in are pawning their jewellery to pay their huge electricity bills.
लोग कोई कान की बालियां उतार के बेच रहा है, कोई रिंग्स बेच रहा है, कोई बच्ची के कांटे बेच रहा है, कुछ बेच के वो बिल ही अदा कर रहा है, उसके बावजूद उनका बिल फिर भी नहीं पे हो रहा।
At the Lahore University, students are looking at India for inspiration.